Do I wish I had never gotten married? Absolutely. But you know what I hated more than the marriage? The wedding. What's up, everybody? It's your girl Indescribable, aka Geraldine Lake, and today I'm here to rant about planning a wedding. Oh my God. And my wedding was like $5,000. I didn't have no debt from the wedding, but oh my God, the amount of people that RSVP'd that didn't even show up to the wedding. So now I got to pay for food that's going to go in the trash. The amount of people that didn't RSVP and then brought their regular ass to the wedding dressed out of the dress code. Because I don't even remember who this person was, but they had on a blood red suit. A blood red suit. And I knew they wasn't part of my family. I knew it had to be his family because what? Let me stay on topic. I think the thing that was most stressful about planning the wedding was coordinating all the people. I love my family, but I have a huge family. I'm talking about my mom and my dad's side. My parents are married. So I've always had access to both my mom and my dad's side. The thing that I love the most is that the people that wanted to be there, they were there and they showed up for me and they did exactly what they were supposed to do. I still, to this day, appreciate my matron of honor and my best friend who acted as like an usher or a hostess. She did a wonderful job. My uncle was security at the door in case anybody thought they was going to stand up and object. Put it on them, Unc. You already know what time it is. But just accommodating people and their feelings on a day that should have been reserved for me and my feelings. I did not like that, y'all. The amount of people that wanted to come and tell me they had a problem with a decision that I made after my wedding can go to hell. Okay, and then not to mention, y'all, I'm divorced anyway. So that pissed me off. Y'all, let me tell you when I should have known that the wedding was going to be the last happy time I would have in that relationship, because I had an agreement with my then fiance that we were going to write our own vows and we were going to have them completed before the ceremony, right? I should not have trusted him to do this. I should have known based on other situations that he had failed to come through and that he would not be able to complete this task. He ends up on the day of the wedding. Now, the wedding is like, I don't know, 3 or 4 o'clock. He's toasted by noon. Toasted. His homeboy then flew into town and he's convinced him to get plastered and speak from the heart. And speak from the heart. I don't know who you thought you were, but why would you? You mean the first thing you're going to do as husband and wife is go against something that we already agreed upon. That was one of my first red flags. Oh my God. And him sitting up there, I still remember, if I could find the footage somewhere, I would post it, but I don't even want to be tied to that man no more. Y'all, that man was up there swaying. He was literally on the camera like this. That's how drunk he was. Talk about embarrassing. And then got up there and told all my friends and family that all I had to do was wake up and he was going to handle the rest. Baby, you don't know me very well at all. I'm not a wake up and a nigga handle the rest type of person. That's not even in my DNA. I'm going to get up and get it done. And if you say you're going to do something, I'm checking behind you to make sure you did it until you show me that I can trust you. I should have never did it. I should have never did it. I should have never did it. Oh my God, I should have never did it. This man from day one did not care about what I wanted. I was not an equal part or a partner to him in that relationship. It was 100% about what he wanted and what was best for him. Not to mention, y'all, oh my God, just one thing that I can appreciate. I always have said this, that man paid them bills. I was allowed to quit my job and figure out social media so I could generate a stable income to support myself. But other than that, that man stressed me out. He was disappearing. He was drinking heavily. And I remember when the divorce proceedings started, I went through the house and I just started finding all these different, bottles of alcohol. And I lined them up and I put them on the kitchen bar so he could see them. Because at this point, I had left the house. I was gone for like 2 months. I left. while I was trying to figure out, whether or not I wanted to go through with the divorce or not. Because, y'all, it was a tough decision to come to. I come from a very religious household, and I wouldn't even consider myself as someone who is deconstructing from Christianity, but I consider myself someone who is not, I don't force myself to strictly live by rules and regulations created by people who never knew Jesus, who never sat with Jesus and never spoke with him. And then laws that encourage slavery, laws that encourage misogyny. I'm not beholden to that, right? I feel like I'm spiritual and I have a relationship with my Creator now. But at the time it was, oh, God doesn't wish divorce for you. How dare you get a divorce? You don't know what you're doing now. You go to therapy and try to work it out. Best thing my therapist ever said to me was, if you don't do something different, you're going to forever be managing his emotions. And thank God that my therapist wasn't a super Christian either, because I would have been stuck in a marriage. And thank God I didn't have no kids. We didn't have no assets together. Our names weren't on anything. I was able to pay for the divorce. I want to say my divorce cost like $1,200. It was very cut and dry, and it still took him 6 months because he wanted to drag it out. But I want to say the red flags that I ignored was constant just dismissal of my feelings, disappearing, not saying where he was going. Y'all, there was a time where I had this event to do and he left me stranded in downtown Atlanta at like 1 a.m. He disappeared. He never even came home. I asked him for a divorce that day. I will never forget, because it was October the 10th. I'll never forget. October the 10th. After we had gotten, it was like after our first year of marriage. We were no longer intimate. We were not really communicating. We were just passing each other in the house. Every now and then we would argue about something, but for the most part, I knew it was over and I wanted to go. So as I'm trying to work through this, I'm getting things from friends and family, like, just try to work it out. And it's because it's soon, like I decided I wanted a divorce like 8 months in. I didn't ask for one till right at 1.5 years. So it was the planning a trip and not having the logistics properly mapped out. So now we're spending unnecessary money and we might be lost in a foreign country. It was disappearing, not coming home, not knowing where you're at. It was allowing friends or family to be disrespectful and not considering my feelings. It was also just a complete lack of consideration. I think that was it. Everything boiled down to not considering my feelings. And that's a thing for me. I don't want to be in a situation where I feel like somebody don't care about me, because why would you, sitting up in front of my parents crying, saying you can't wait to marry me, I'm the best thing that ever happened to you, and pretending like you wanted to be a partner in my life is crazy. For you to not be coming home and having a drinking problem. What the hell was that about? So in retrospect, I think the biggest thing for me was I will never allow myself to be caught up like that again, because people can cry and be in your face and say you mean the world to them and still marry you and treat you like nobody. That's how I felt in my marriage. And I was tired, y'all. I was tired of asking. I was tired of crying, tired of begging, tired of being confused about what we were and what we were doing. Because if you can't talk to your spouse, then who can you really talk to? And the thing that triggered me real bad one time is that he called me defiant. And I was like, so you think I'm somebody that needs to obey you? And not only do you want my obedience, you want my blind obedience. You want me to not question you. And you want me to just, whatever you say goes. And I think that this was something that he was just used to, because he was kind of like the breadwinner in his family. But money don't make you smart. Having money don't make you a good decision maker. Having money don't make you a great leader. It just means that you were able to acquire a significant amount of money. So said all that to say, there were signs. There were signs. And the first sign absolutely was at that wedding. Because being drunk before the vows were exchanged is crazy. And then getting up there and just saying whatever you wanted to say without... Y'all, I'm having flashbacks. Anyway, I am so glad to not be married. I'm so glad I did what was best for me, because so many people would tell you to sit up in a situation where you're not happy because you made a decision. People make mistakes. People make mistakes, and I don't think God wants me to be miserable for the rest of my life with a man who don't even love me. Now, you may ask him for his side of the story. He may tell you that I nagged him and I complained about everything. But wouldn't you complain if somebody was taking your car and driving around drunk, not coming home? Wouldn't you complain if their name wasn't on the title or the insurance policy? Wouldn't you complain? But anyway, neither here nor there. My part in it was seeing a situation that was obviously doomed and not stepping out of it much sooner. So I'm telling you this story so you can understand. The second somebody treats you like you are not a priority, the second somebody treats you like how you feel doesn't matter, and the very minute that you are not considered, walk away. I don't care how far in it you are. Walk away. You can always walk away. Because I asked people after the fact, they was like, well, baby, we didn't even think that you should have been in there, but that's the... Shut the hell up. Shut the hell up and go to hell. Because everybody got together on that day and did their part. Not a single person came to me beforehand and said, well, we don't really think this is for you. Everybody had after the fact wisdom. Everybody had after the fact wisdom. And I'm not that kind of person. If you see something, say something. I'm the friend that's going to be like, I don't really like the way she talked to you. I don't really like the way he did that. I'm that friend. And I want people to be like that in my life as well. So if you see something that's a little off, or if it makes you feel a certain type of way, don't dismiss those feelings, because what you don't want to be, okay? What you don't want to be is 10 years into something with kids and assets and your name on a bunch of paperwork, and you feel like you can't get out, so now you feel stuck. Thank God I didn't feel like I was stuck. Thank God I had the strength to get up out of that. Thank God for my therapist who told me, baby girl, get your purse and go, okay? Because that man was going to take me straight to hell. But yeah, so hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you feel about this. Are you in a situation that you feel like you can't get out of? Have you ever gone through a divorce? Are you in a marriage right now that you kind of just not too cool on? But like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell so you know every single time I upload. And I will check y'all at the next video. But please, act like you got some sense in these comments, okay? Act like you got some sense or go to hell. All right? Peace.